this is my fatherly duty to make sure at this point in your life that you consider all these other things that I might have some experience with.
Yeah.
You don't have to do what I say.
Right.
It's okay. But I need to make sure that as you're discerning these things, you've been formed, you've been educated to make decisions and to think through
you're guiding
problems.
You're guiding them.
Exactly.
Right.
And like, just keep asking those questions. Have you considered?
Yeah.
What about this?
But they must, but they know that you love them.
They know that I love them. They can still be annoyed.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And that's fine. I don't care.
Chad Rosamond, welcome to the Sword&Spade podcast.
Always good to spend time with you, Jason.
All right.
Few and far between, but I'm glad we worked this one out.
We should, and this is This isn't just background story to endear people to our very human and conversation on a podcast, but it's actually what's going on in our lives right now. It's just funny.
Insanity.
And it says, you're okay. So I'm going to ask you about a lot of this, but you have moved. Well, one, people should know this about you because you're wearing the wrong getup. You were a banker.
I was a banker. Yes.
You
and
I
financed for, I guess, 18 years.
Okay.
2006 to 2024.
Well, you completely shed the banker look. I mean, you just...
Yeah, well, I didn't embrace it to begin with. I was the banker that sold like 20 to 25 dozen eggs a week from the trading floor at Wells Fargo.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I brought in eggs every day and just started on the fridge.
I love a suit. I really love suits.
I never wore suits.
I would wear one if I was a banker, but I am not cut out to be a banker.
You and Dr. Jacob and Mom.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll talk suits.
Yeah.
I have an affinity. I have the wardrobe.
I've got a suit in the car.
Ambassador. I'm sure you do. Well, the reason this is all tied together is that we shared this interest. You were, and today, in case everybody missed it, we're talking about economics and guiding our sons into life. Now, a lot of people, we have been debating this within my home and with friends, where there's this attitude of, well, what I do is, I guess the philosophy, even in conservative worlds, is I'm going to do my best. I'm going to give them the best formation, make sure their character is strong. And then at 18, I cut them off and I hope that they, get a good mortgage rate. Yeah. It's sort of, and like, well, and they can do whatever they want. Yeah. All right. But I'll keep your story going. So you went full time with this because you didn't like finance. But then this is why you're the problem. And I'm still a little upset with our friends, Jacob and Mark, particularly Jacob. Yeah. Is that you were offered a job back in finance at St. Joseph the Worker. Yeah, the College of St. Joseph the Worker in Steubenville, Ohio. Yep. Okay. Yep. And this is what I want to ask. So when I asked you to come on, I said, I want to talk about the ideas of work, economics, fathering, guiding our children, and how this explosion of like Catholic trade schools and interest in the trades. Which is beautiful. My wife called me. She goes, I don't know if you've ever seen the website. Well, I'm not going to list it in case I get paid. But it's a website that is nothing but a list of headlines. Okay. She calls and said, did you see the headline on said website? I'm like, Sweetie, it's only headlines. What are you talking about? Yeah. But it was about shop class students in high schools getting offered like $70,000 jobs to like quit school. Yeah. And go be a welder. Yes. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So St. Joseph the Worker is part of that. You have moved to be a part of that. Yes, I have moved. My family is in the process, but yeah. But you said, oh, no, Jacob, he's the smart guy. Yes. And the other guy who's our VP of admissions, Michael Gagala. Oh, VP. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Very perfectionist, very performative, very pro. You said, well, they can really articulate the intellectual, philosophical reasons why we as fathers might actually guide our sons, away from a traditional college track, what we call contemporary college track, and towards a trade and maybe even a trade school. Yeah. You said they're good at that. I said, yeah, but how old is Jacob's oldest? 5, I think. Okay. Maybe 6. So he's got babies. Yeah. So I was at his house, I love ideas. Yeah. But now I have children that are, we're like, wait, this is a person that could get, she turns 16 on Monday. Okay. My wife said, you can start calling her 16. And I was like, my ass, I'm going to call her. I'm going to call my daughter 15 until she's not 15 anymore. But it's all of a sudden, and then then we have one basically every year and a half, 2 years after. I don't know how that happened. And the point is, we are now, we got an older daughter who's very involved with work. We have a 15-year-old son who's in gun making, and then the next son down is like, I'll tell you about that. Yeah. It's not just like, ooh, ARs. It's actually old school muzzleloader rifles, like with wooden inlays. And apparently,
if you're making guns, that's the way to do it.
He's making, like, how much are they paying you for that game? But the reason I said I don't want Jacob necessarily because you're a dad and you have now ushered how many children into the adult world?
Well, it's a mixed question. I've got a 24-year-old son.
Okay.
I've got a 22-year-old son. And then I've got a 19-year-old son. My 19-year-old son's disabilities, John Paul. You know John Paul. So I don't know that I've ushered him into adulthood.
Well, he probably entered his stage of adulthood years and years ago.
Pretty much,
like, this is his
so
life.
He's a joy to have,
but
it's a different kind of ushering in.
Yeah. Well,
he'll always be with us.
Right. Yeah. But he will not be incorporated into the world of working economics.
No.
No. Which is great.
That could be a lot of fun to see, but yeah. And there are programs out there for people like John Paul, but it's got to be really well tailored to that individual.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right. Well, you've looked into that.
Yeah.
You but the other reason I brought you into that,
16-year-old daughter, same as yours, and then others as well.
And she does, work and stuff too.
Yeah,
We've talked about it.
Yeah.
So the reason I'm asking you this is I think both of it, we're in the age like everybody's a classical homeschooler.
Yeah.
Like everybody's
we
classical.
Are passionately classical as well. Yeah.
I didn't mean to make fun of it, but
yeah.
I honestly at this point I am a little so. And then we value the Catholic intellectual tradition.
Yeah.
The life of
the must-have.
The imagination. Yeah. And then it seems like we're violating the natural trajectory of that by starting to recognize that the return on investment of a traditional college track, especially for young men, might not be great. The return it is. So, and I want to ask you because your sons were going on pretty classic track.
Yeah.
So tell us what happened.
So my oldest, Luke, he did finished a double major math and meteorology and a minor in data science at a local public school, and then went on to start a doctoral program in meteorology. And I did his first year. It was all classes, loved it, just learning more stuff. And then got into academic research and was like, this is not something I want to be involved in.
Why? What was
the politics of continuing to fund yourself? This was a couple of years ago. I can't imagine what that world is like now.
Yeah.
Right? A lot that's changed.
Yeah, changing wide open.
So he decided to. He was like, "Oh, I'm gonna quit. I'm gonna become a software programmer." I was like, "Are you sure?"
Was that a?
It was a natural progression from he was doing a bunch of programming.
Okay. So that wasn't like, well, that sounds like a good job.
No, it was a skill set he already had that he thought he could apply, but he wasn't very well prepared in presenting himself. And I worked with him a good bit. And
I was about to say, did you work with him?
I did, but it's from a distance because he's 13 hours away.
Yeah.
I said, well, what about becoming a pilot? And from that moment, it was like, yeah, that's almost it's a skill that you gain, right?
Yeah.
So and he was like, yeah, I want to do that. And
where did that come from for you? Why did you?
I wanted to be a pilot for a long time. And he and I had talked about it in the past.
Okay.
He had taken some like introductory flights and stuff like that and enjoyed it. And so like it was always an interest. His dream at one point as a meteorologist was to fly on the Hurricane Hunter plane. Not fly it, but fly on it and do research on it.
Not the guy that's going to let the bomb off to.
I don't know anything about that.
Apparently it was, honestly, I'm sympathetic with this, but apparently one president that we've had, just keep politics. No, it was Trump. It was totally Trump. There was a hurricane coming and he was like, can we just explode a nuke in the middle of it? And I actually think everyone kind of laughed at that. And I'm like, yeah, I could see asking the question.
Yeah. If you don't know the energy.
Yeah. That's right. Can we just blow it up? You know?
Yeah.
Look, I'm from New York. We do things.
Yeah. But yeah, so something we had talked about before.
It wasn't,
it wasn't alien at all. It was
what's funny, though,
it was a reawakening of like, oh yes, that.
But I'd like to make a comment about, we have this attitude. Again, we form our kids, we educate them, we protect them, we guide them. And then at 18, it's got to be there. And it's like, if it's not their decision, if they don't discover themselves, so you as a father just imposed your idea of piloting.
It was a joint. My wife and I discussing things.
I'm actually praising. Like it's helpful when someone says, "Why don't you consider?"
Well, you know your children, right?
Yeah.
You should know your children. I may not know my children as well as I should all the time. But
I'm all right. You can.
But I wanted him to have a skill set. I didn't want him to float. I had been a programmer essentially.
Mm-hmm.
I had been in finance. Where he's living, his software programming would have been in finance as well, largely.
Yeah.
And as much as like, yes, he might have been able to get a good job that paid bills for him and would make him successful. I know him well enough that I think I know him well enough that I don't think he would be happy with that forever.
Mm-hmm.
He's too adventurous.
That is serious continued guidance to one. And you can answer this as much as you want or not, but like you maintained you knew him. You said you got to know him better, but you had a trusting, ongoing relationship with your son.
Yeah. He's less forthright with his discussion of his thought process than my 22-year-old say.
Okay,
he's
just more internal about it.
Just more internal about it, and.
But your relationship resulted in you continuing to guide him.
Absolutely,
instead of...
Well, whenever he's like leaving a PhD program and has no way of supporting himself. Otherwise, he looks to me for more support. And so there's lots of discussions, logistical discussions as well about leases and cars and you know what I mean?
But this is that's a discernment. Like you will be happier to do this.
To do something like this. Yeah. Something that changes every day to a degree, right?
You had, I knew I don't know anything before. Did you take a just traditional college route and then?
Yes and no.
Were you homeschooled?
I was never homeschooled. No.
It works.
I went to public school my whole life. And then went to college.
Well, you probably had high school.
I went to high school.
And then college.
I was there at high school.
Yeah.
I got good grades. Let's put it this way. I got to college and I aced the math entrance exam, but I failed the English entrance exam. So I was in remedial English at the University of Georgia with football players and softball players. So like I was in class with I think he's a Hall of Fame quarterback now, Champ Bailey.
That's funny. Wait, so let me ask you this then. But you're at this point, you are a reader of yeah. Now for me,
I didn't read growing up though.
Okay, this is actually interesting. I'm doing this research on a project about like the male brain, and the kids asked me about what kind of student I was in high school. Like, I was a briber. My wife will tell. We went to the same high school. And she's like, well, I did homework every night. And they're like, did you do your homework, Bob? I said, never did homework. And I skipped school and I was a bad student. But I knew how to ingratiate myself to the teachers. And I would, come in a little late. You just pop a biscuit on the desk, right, from Hardee's and say, sorry, I'm late. There you go. That's for you. That's what I was doing. And my wife tells that all the time. But when I got to college, I was going to a community college for landscaping. And I picked up, and we couldn't afford TV. So I didn't have like a big intellectual, like, I should start reading. We just didn't have a TV because we couldn't afford it. It was still like cable and like internet videos were still just like slow dancing babies, right? Couldn't like stream anything. And we owned a VHS. We owned Next Friday with Ice Cube and Miracle, the hockey. That's all we had. But I picked up, of all things, a Dan Brown novel.
Okay.
He's the guy who wrote
Da Vinci Code.
Da Vinci Code. But I read Angels and Demons and other anti-Catholic thing.
Yeah. And
I just started reading.
Yeah.
And then, there was a lot of stuff in between. Before you know, I'm in a master's program for theology. And like my mind woke up only until And as I'm researching what's not for this project, it's interesting that boys' brains really do wake up later. So you now are like, you're talking about classical education, but you went in as just like a public school math kid.
Oh yeah.
With no English.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very rare English.
Yeah.
And
my kids know grammar better than than I will ever know it.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful for that. Thankful to my wife for that.
Hope they're better.
Oh yes. Agreed.
Okay. So your mind woke up.
My own, well, no, I went to college. And I was working. I worked through high school. I worked in college, doing construction for my father.
Okay.
And then a couple years into college, family comes along.
Yeah.
And then my wife's a year older than me, so I finished putting her through her undergraduate and master's degree. I had no degree, so I worked all kinds of jobs, making ends meet.
Wait, I'm sorry. You quit college?
I quit college
so that you could help work,
could take care of the family.
Okay.
Yep. And then it was my turn to go back to school. So that's when I went back to school with 2 children and a wife working, and finished my undergraduate in mathematics.
Okay.
And then went into a master's program in statistics.
Okay.
But it was in a business school, so it was more like an MBA.
So then, did you find yourself in software and finance? Like,
I landed there because I needed an internship using data, but I never planned on going into finance. I don't know what I planned on, but it wasn't finance.
But let's just I'm going to contrast these 2 stories, though. Your son. I think what you did is what is proposed to us. Yeah. A lot of us have a hard time. We talk about, well, what are we going to do? We see colleges going crazy or whatever. Yep. And I think for a lot of us, it's just a failure of imagination because there's just one thing we understand, which is you get good grades so you can get into a good school, so you can get a good job and live in a good neighborhood and be miserable like everybody else.
Yep. In your own fiefdom. Yeah.
So you did follow.
I followed that.
So where were I guess at this point you're ushered, you're married. So you're making very strictly economic decisions. I can land here and pay the bills.
Yeah. It was partly that. And then we had a reawakening to our faith after our first child, really.
Okay.
And some dear friends kind of guiding us to understand better our life as married Catholics. With souls and the importance of the sacrament of our marriage for raising a family as well.
Okay, and that was wow. So then this was before
that was even before I went back to school.
Yeah.
And then I went back to school, and a year later, John Paul was born.
Yeah.
And my wife, we made a decision that yes, she has a master's degree, I have no degree, but you need to be with our child.
Yeah.
And
this is
so I worked 2 to 3 jobs at a time and went to school.
Wow.
So I did my master's degree while working at UPS early in the morning, working at a pension plan during the day, doing the master's at night.
Flipping 90s Pogs on eBay. You remember Pogs?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. No, it was just
trying to date your age.
This was in mid 2000s that I was doing this. And sleeping 3 hours a night kind of thing,
and babies.
And John Paul in the hospital.
Yeah.
So like 6 of his.
I thought John Paul was the 3rd.
He is the 3rd. So So this all my wife quit whenever John Paul was born.
Okay.
So we for 6 of his first 12 months were kind of in the hospital.
Okay.
But he didn't never spend a night alone. My wife was there with him.
Wow.
So I would get up in the morning, drive my 2 older sons, now 22 and 24, to the hospital at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, drop them off with my wife, and go work at UPS, and come back and pick them up, or have breakfast at the hospital, or
wow, that's crazy.
It was an insane time. I was very glad to be in my mid-20s. I can't imagine doing it right now in my mid-40s.
Yeah. Think about stuff that we did.
Yeah. And it's like
with the kid, like what, we moved where and did what?
Yeah.
Like with kids.
Oh yeah. I mean, you've mentioned I'm moving to Ohio.
Yeah.
We moved 12 times in 12 years until we moved into this house that we've been in for 12 years.
Yeah. So you were rooted in Charlotte. I mean, it wasn't long ago. You and I, we got the Sword and Spade issue on place,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And you and I would share thoughts about how we're not going anywhere.
I wasn't going anywhere, but I was trying to conceptualize how to do some of the things that of place that we've discussed. Some of the stuff you're doing here, some of the stuff that's happening in Steubenville as well, but doing that in a suburban setting where I'm the only agriculture in the area.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just makes it much more challenging to. I spent a lot of time in prayer, like how do you do that in a suburban community? Wonderful, beautiful Catholics that I love, beautiful parishes that I love,
right?
But it's not the same. How do you recreate a sense of place and community in that setting where everybody is in their own? They're in their fiefdom in suburbia.
Craig said it well one time, though. I mean, the difference that you had about your house there that a lot of people feel about their house. He said, it's nice to be in a place where I'm not going to move. And I thought about for a long, and what I mean, and think about our houses are all investments.
Oh, yeah.
Right? That we're going to flip. So, like, your sense of place and neighborliness is going to be affected by the fact that, like, this is temporary. Like, Wendell Berry said, I have one Berry book here. This is from a
I know that book.
Yeah, we had an event on the farm. It's nothing.
I know. Yeah, I know that. I know what kind of event you had. If you have that book in front of you,
one trick pony.
Yeah,
kill a pig. That's all we do. But he said, we're all just cohabitating. But that's not what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
So that is part of your intellectual change.
Yeah.
But I want to specifically talk about us as fathers, particularly. Guiding children into the economic world. Again, your track was normal, which is I'm 18, I go to college, and I'll figure something out, and I'll call and ask for advice. And that's worked for a lot of people, right? Or they wouldn't do it. Now it's also worked. The side effect is, I like to say that every family is a diaspora of itself. Yeah. If you send your kids to college,
you don't know where they're going to end up, what they're going to end up doing.
Because in the past it would have been ordinary to presume you stayed near your family, and extraordinary to be separated from it. Now it's actually extraordinary to live near where you grew up and have some place, in a generational sense of place. Which again, that's another topic. But you had a conversion to your faith. At some point, you're growing in a love for what we can just call the perennial classical.
It was through homeschooling. Really,
it's through homeschooling.
Yeah, through homeschooling.
So, like, what are we going to teach them? Wow, it turns out
we were in Salt Lake City, so we homeschooled. So and we were also having this child in the hospital. We couldn't imagine. I'm working all kinds of jobs. We couldn't imagine shuttling kids to school. Right. So it was just
so
homeschooling
was too made it.
Homeschooling was like, well, this is a real option,
right? Due
to the circumstances that we were living in.
But your experience is probably like mine. You still are, and I'm not critiquing this per se. Again, sometimes when we talk about the problems with certain things, people are offended. But it's actually like we're just observing reality, which is the observed reality is that the return on investment for the economics of college, that's declining. And they might have this wonderful time at this college, and then that is a if they're at Christendom or some of these great colleges, or Steubenville, that becomes sort of their last breath because it's sort of a cultural ecosystem that is by definition temporary. So you can kind of dump in all the best of the best for a while. You have like vibrancy of community. Not everybody. Say a vibrancy of community. You get informed. Like, how would you not? But then a lot of, I taught one president of a great small Catholic liberal arts school, and he said, I feel like I'm setting people up for a big disappointment because they step out into the world and they go, man, this
is nothing like college.
No, that classical, communal, sacramental, beauty loving. I can't find it. I got to get a job. All right. So there's that, but also the fact that the desire to go into the trades and that become an option again is now making it not just like, community college kids. That used to mean kids that couldn't get into college.
Yeah.
But you work at St. Joseph, College of St. Joseph.
Yeah, the College of St. Joseph Worker is designed to not be that.
But these are sharp kids.
These are, I would say that this is first and foremost largely it's a Catholic studies program that's heavy philosophy.
Right.
Right. And the academic work that they're doing far exceeds anything that I can ever imagine myself doing.
So it's a serious
academic degree.
I discovered that.
And then you also have the opportunity to learn the trades. And through the time learning the trades, you are paid an hourly wage that then recoups your tuition for the academic degree.
Right. So you're learning how to think, how to work, and not get in debt doing it.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's something families could,
I would
consider doing sooner.
Yeah.
So
you have to be prepared for it because it's a challenging degree.
Yeah.
So you have to be prepared through middle school and high school, through those times, to actually apply yourself academically to be able to do that work.
Yeah. I didn't discover that. So I'll just tell you where we are with the formation of our kids.
Yeah.
My mind woke up. I love the intellectual tradition of the church. I would love for them to be, have that finished.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
By the communal aspect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same time, we have a lot of dyslexia and, which is actually a cool talent. Actually, I don't know if you've discovered it. But we have said, they have to at least learn a trade.
Yeah.
But they don't have to go to college, and we don't want to have an anti-college perspective at all.
Yeah.
I guess we've kind of flipped what's ordinary and extraordinary. As we always say, that I think right now it's actually a pretty safe bet for you to learn a trade. And we live in a community where there's lots of tradesmen, and they look at those guys and go, they're happy.
Yeah.
They're working with their family.
Yep.
They're outside. They're working with their hands.
Yeah.
There's a couple young men that we actually eat with them all the time, and they come over to the house and we see them on Sundays that work in construction.
Yeah.
And these are well-formed, well-rounded, virtuous guys.
Yeah.
And they're they're starting to see this image.
Yeah.
But that's new.
Yeah.
Because I think it wasn't long ago. I mean, 5-8 years ago, it would have seemed like, well, if your homeschooler didn't end up at a 4-year college at least.
Well, and we've taken a unique path toward
your family?
My family toward college because
we need to finish.
We do a lot of
kids.
My second kid is 22, and we do a lot of dual enrollment through high school at a local Catholic college, right? And so he graduated Belmont Abbey. He graduated with 78 credit hours toward his degree. So that reduced you're already most of the way there. You're just going to go ahead and finish this.
Right.
Now, a couple years prior to that, he was it was during COVID. He sees people being canceled, people not being able to work, and says, I want to do something with my hands that somebody always needs. Can I learn a trade? And I was like, well, you can go work for my friend the plumber, my friend this electrician, friends that's a mechanic, or we can start doing what your grandfather does in Atlanta that you've done and I've done. Transformador. And he was like, well, let's do that. Oh. So that's how I started it. Yeah. Started doing it in Charlotte because he wanted to learn something with his hands. He knew he wanted to be a philosophy major, and he knew he didn't want to use philosophy for supporting a family for the rest of his life.
Because that would mean you stay in the educational system.
Yeah.
Which is a route.
It's a route, absolutely. And it's a needed route.
Yeah.
But it's limited.
Again, we're trying to observe without saying it's limited, and it has a certain there's instability. I
would say that there's a limited demand for Catholic fathers that are philosophy majors. Yeah. To be able to support their family
by doing philosophy.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
And he realized that.
Yeah. I mean, that's the joke. I mean, I remember growing up, my father's in construction.
Yep.
They would always
make fun
of the philosophy degree.
Yeah.
which I grew up in, but as I became Catholic, it's like, oh, actually, we really need philosophers. And the reason you guys do have philosophy, it's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Everyone has philosophy, it's just not everyone thinks they do.
Yeah.
But back to so you did the dual enrollment, the creative thing. I was on with Connor Gallagher, a mutual friend.
Yep.
And he's very involved with Bell and Abbey, and his kids go there. And he also very skeptical of just the traditional route, which is like, let's dump our kids in a co-ed dorm. And hope for the best. And his kids, he lived near the school.
Yep.
He was able to keep the kid. I think they built like a guest house.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Not an option for everybody.
Well, the property they purchased already had something.
Yeah, okay.
They were looking for a property that had some space
near the school. So the kids though, they were able to live separate, but then not live dumb.
Yeah,
which was, he was saying, he said out, he said it on his podcast, which I guess people listen to, that don't you dare drop your kid off, and just let college take care of them. And so anyway, you did something similar.
They lived in our house, which made for some difficult frictions at times because they want to be. All their friends are at college doing the college thing, and they're at home and they're disconnected from that community as it's defined as a college student, right? And so there's some friction that you have to work through, right? Yeah. It's not a fail safe.
Well, I guess
to live at home.
For both your instances, the college itself was an institution that had a communal presence in your community. Meaning, a presence in your community. That's very different from, we'll send them away.
Yeah. So we believe that you, as a young person, have to stay within a familial type community, rather whether that was with your family, or with a religious order, or married, or you move from one group of people that you're depending on, and they're depending on you, to another group of people, and college doesn't define that. Because
it isn't interesting how many this is just from friends, when their kids land there and they're so disoriented, and they either land in a good group, a bad group, or no group, which is then they fall into depression. And that's what's fascinating. All these, how everything's called a community, right? The LGBT community, everything's a community. It's not a community. It's a shared interest.
No, you have to depend on. I mean, it's
the other. You when you said the familial, it made me think of too the thing that I, one of my observations, a shtick, if you will, is that we've invented teenagers. And then we perpetuate them, and I view teenagers as a generational clique. Meaning they're separated from having to take care of anyone, and then they're separated from anyone has authority. So it's this clique, right? Where somehow they're supposed to form themselves. I think that can be fun.
With each other.
And I mean, I hear people talk even apostolically, oh, we had this shared mission. We were on this ministry together. And then they're disoriented because they never feel that again. And, that there's a lot to say there that we're not going to say, that could be good and could be. But the point is continuing to learn how to live in normal. That's what I'm seeing with a lot of, young men that I know through Fraternus, that they stay connected in a familial. For example, we think of dating and courtship weirdly, where they go off and do something separate, which of course, we want them to be able to get to know one another and all that. But a lot of friends where actually the young man might come and join the family regularly for meals and things.
I've been going through that recently. My son was just engaged a couple weeks ago.
Oh gosh. And all right, man, now we got more to talk about.
There's the 22-year-old. We don't have time. So my 22-year-old graduated from Belmont Abbey last year.
All right.
And immediately kind of I don't want to do what you do, Dad. What we started together. He's an electrician.
The transformator.
He didn't want to do a transformator. He's a full-time electrician. This going on a year.
And you didn't give him any kind of I did this for you, son.
Oh, there were certainly pokes and prides, but I was very supportive. He went to work for a wonderful man who's a dear friend of mine, that treats him right, and kind of a good mentor. And I was
a trade.
Go. I can't give him that.
Yeah.
But I can definitely work with be happy that my son is working with a man that I trust, man that I met butchering chickens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With like Joel Scrude or something?
No. His wife runs a fairly big farm, an operation, run, chickens, sheep, some pork and some beef, and eggs up in Mount Ola.
Okay.
So yeah.
We did. Oh, you know what? We started this. I talked about what was going on behind the scenes with you and I.
Yeah.
You're actually here. You've moved to Ohio. You're here because you were in town to finish a Transformador.
Well, that was a byproduct.
Okay. And then, all right. So that was I'm also a byproduct of this trip. But your visit is wrap up things in Charlotte.
Yeah. My family moves in 3 days to Ohio.
But you're here.
My cow that I got from you is already up there
at Jacob's house.
And I have grass growing.
Watch my cow, Jacob.
I have grass growing.
Yeah. So you're here to buy
I need to get something to take care of it. Otherwise, my 22-year-old electrician who's staying will have to cut all that grass with a lawnmower and use gas and probably break the mower. And I said, no.
Just turn it into beef.
This is really crazy. The cow can do a better job.
Yeah.
I've showed him, like, if you don't want to weed eat, well, here's what you do. You take that chicken feed and you sprinkle it along the fence, and all of a sudden you don't have any weeds to weed eat. So like,
learn your ways.
So yeah.
All right. So that's what you're doing.
That's what brought me out here.
And then, but see, you're coming here to pick up a cow. You're wearing your Transformador shirt
because I worked this morning. My college at St. Joseph with a hat.
And there's no sign of your banker background.
No, there's not. Thank goodness. My Timex Rolodex. No.
All right. So then what is then I'm imagining, though, you and I are talking about this. And a lot of this you're saying has even been awakened with just sort of, I guess, intellectual circles we're kind of nipping around. I don't think that's a saying, nipping around. You used the word nippers earlier, tool, and it was on my mind, but I don't think that's a word. But if you want to use it, you can. Has this been a change and a transformation of how you view what you're guiding your children into, because you have more?
Yeah. So I would say that my awakening has been because I want to guide my children.
Okay.
Right. I need to know more. Like, I feel like by God's grace, He has led me in a healthy direction. Mm-hmm. Right. But as I have learned more about the agricultural life and the values that it imparts on children and in me, and the land and community, work, trades, which I grew up doing, you grew up doing, right? And the value of just being able to work a good, hard day and have something to show for it and be of benefit to your neighbor, right? That, but also a classical education, right? Like, there's a beautiful combination.
What do you mean by that? You mean just a well-rounded?
I mean, like, you need to be able to learn how to think.
Okay.
Right? Like, you need to be learning formal logic, rhetoric, philosophy, theology, right? So then
you need to learn how to think.
You need to learn how to think,
right?
And learning how to think then helps you integrate all of those things that happen in life and bring them in and discern them.
Right. I think it makes you the word I've been, it's not my word at all, but one that's been to describe what we're talking about, this integration, is wisdom. I know that seems obvious. And I'm actually, this book I'm reading, or this author I'm reading, Ian McGilchrist.
Okay.
And his big thing is, the human brain, one of the most observable traits of it is actually it's divided in two.
Okay.
And that some people exaggerate the whole like left brain, right brain thing, but his research is exhaustive that there is a difference in our brain, in our mind. We do basically two things, which is we, the left side takes things apart for analysis, for categorization, for utilization. It's very useful. And that the right part is not just fluffy creative stuff. But what it does is puts things back together into the whole. More than just seeing the big picture, but sort of seeing the essence of things.
Yeah.
So this is where places like music and beauty, or over here, maybe things like language. Although it's not strict, because actually he says, the left side has the words there, but not like the meaning, whatever that means. Anyway, but he thinks we live in an era where since the Renaissance, the left side of the brain, our analytical side, has been valued, run wild, and that it's killing us. And he says, there's kind of like different choices and dichotomies. And he said, we have been pursuing power instead of wisdom. Yep. Whereas before, it would not have been a strange thing to, when you say class, you made me think of when you say, well, classical means I want to know how to think. Yeah. And I doubt many people, right? I mean, we're just talking STEM stuff and business. Yeah. The purpose of learning is power in the form of economic purchasing power, leadership power. It's like there was a time where like there wasn't leadership programs at every college. Like, I mean, it's like, what's with this? It's because we want power over things. Yeah. And that he's just saying we need a recovery of the age of wisdom. Yeah. So I see in my experience, and one of the reasons, and this, of course, we're all, we again, this is part of our underlying philosophies, which is you do your best for your kids. You give them formation, but you don't pigeonhole them, because you got to give them the freedom to choose whoever they want to be. And like, it's like all these underlying things, when it really, we're influencing them all the time. Yeah. I mean, that's formation isn't even a formula.
Even after they're out of the house.
Even after that. Because of course they're my children. Like, I mean, I'm formed by that. Anyway,
we're called to that. We've had wonderful mentors ourselves that have older children that have left the house, that they've still been part of their lives, even they're not in the house, even that they're away at college or whatever, but they've been still involved. So we've been blessed with wonderful people.
I've learned to ask or observe that, being traditionally minded, conservative, homeschooling, I've definitely seen, like, we're just still getting the data on that, but it's not enough.
No.
If you don't have an ongoing trusting relationship with your children. Yeah. And there are families that 18 and everything scatters. Yeah. But the people that stay involved actually seem to be thriving. On a human level. What I was going to say about the what you're describing, the wisdom thing, is that in my observation, again, I was saying that our underlying philosophy is they'll go out and figure it out at a certain point. Yeah. Rediscover something about themselves. Yep. And I'm not disparaging. There is truth. I'm trying to play both sides here, but people do go off and have an amazing formative. Yeah. And for a lot of people, because that was the most formative thing that happened in their life that set them on a trajectory towards marriage, career, and everything, they can't not think, well, everyone needs that. Because this is the way it's done. Yeah. But in my observation, there are people that their contentment with a hard day's work and having their needs satisfied, and enjoying truth and beauty and goodness and community and family and
music and culture
and just they're happy in a way that I think correlates to their wisdom, which correlates to their knowing how to do something, being proud of something, being rooted somewhere. And that's harder than it seems.
Well, I think that that relates back to your comment about the diaspora of the current American family as well. Yeah. Is that if you are finding something that your local community needs, and you're finding somebody to spend your life with in that local community and build a family with in that local community, you have a better opportunity to build those cultural bonds and in support of not only, if my sons lived here, they could go talk to you, they could go talk to Craig, right? And my son, especially my 22-year-old, has that opportunity in Charlotte with
he's working with a mentor, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So,
and Charlie is the co-editor of Sword&Spade magazine. Okay. Who thinks all things podcasts are dumb. And I don't know if he'll ever come on. He's probably listening now. Conversational voyeurism, what I call it's very simple that what are you forming your kids towards? Right. And he asks big questions. That's why he's a great editor of the magazine. Yeah. What are we forming them towards? And we're like, okay, heaven. Okay, great. And like their vocation. Okay. You got like marriage. And then obviously as far this ushering them into the economic world is the obvious thing that means is to take care of a need in your community.
Yep.
And get paid to do it.
And get paid to do it. Yeah.
To fill a legitimate need.
Yeah.
Now that is in some ways, I know in a lot of communities, it's hard because what am I going to do? Work at Subway? But I think what we're discovering and seeing in the trades is people are really wrong. That there is a lot of work to be done. Yeah. And when you are bound, when the purpose of your education no longer becomes how to maximize your income. Yeah. It actually becomes how to serve your community. Yep. That dramatically changes our attitude, how we go again. How we talk about education in the first place. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I know it has, now my kids, I'm on the computer, a lot of the day. Yeah. Just like, they want to just start businesses right around. They just see all these needs and like, you should jump in, Dad. And that's another discussion.
I would be curious to hear that one.
Yeah. Well,
Dad's stuck on the computer and parents, kids out there.
Yeah. They're
making a change in community.
Yeah. So. Well, I do think for a lot of fathers that are doing this, there actually has to, or doing something different if they do want to stay local. Yeah. For a lot of them, there's like a sacrifice generation. They're like, okay, we're gonna stay the course and do what we're doing, and then and this has to do with the education, give them something different to think about. All right, but let me just go back here. First kid, degree. He was heading degree, didn't like that.
Doctoral work in a doctoral program, didn't like it. Now he's trying to be a commercial pilot.
Because that seed was sown at a young age. You're now living vicariously through him.
Some of that. So is his grandfather.
And, all right. So it's a family tradition.
Yes.
So he's entering a family tradition.
He is.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's how we're going to define it. Yeah. And then 22-year-old is now engaged. But he got a philosophy degree, but somewhat not traditional in the sense that he was getting school credits.
Yeah. In high school, and then finished his college while living at home as well.
Okay. So these two guys, they sound like they were pretty academically adept. I mean,
they could absolutely. Yeah. And then
the reason I say that is because sometimes I was just reading Temperaments's book, and it was like, if you got a phlegmatic kid, just give him a labor job. Hey, no, there's a lot of good stuff about this. So I'm hung up on the temperance stuff. It's very simple. It's not the box you occupy. It's how you tend to respond to life.
Okay.
Right?
So Jason.
That's not what this was supposed to be about. But you're anti-temperaments?
I am not anti-temperaments. You're
kind of temperamental about it.
I am temperamental about it. I think it bears too much weight in
people's minds.
In some people's minds. Yeah.
I think actually it's only helpful, it's very helpful as a tool of self-knowledge.
And I can get that. Yeah. Absolutely.
Because I found this old book, it's like 1800s, Father Conrad Hawk, and I read it. And actually, for me as a father, it gave me this. This is not what this is supposed to be about. But it gave me, it said, hey, if you're this personality.
That's not unusual here.
Right. If you're a choleric dad. And you have a sanguine son. You're going to view his sanguinity. With annoyance. And you should be aware of that. Because
absolutely
the way you react.
As a parent, I think it's valuable. There are valuable things for self-knowledge.
Yeah. Self-awareness.
Yeah. Self-awareness.
Right. What are you, a melancholic?
No, I'm not a melancholic. I'm much more sanguine.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Anyway, my wife's super melancholic. So I'm like learning how. I'm like, why are you thinking that way? Oh, I'm thinking that way. I'm the problem again. Back to
economics of
the reason I brought that up actually is that your children are bright, because for a lot of kids, again, like, he's very phlegmatic, therefore just let him be a laborer.
I would say that my wife in our homeschool, for better or for worse, was pretty strict on academic excellence.
That's her fault.
It's her fault. No. And I would say that we've done some reflecting on a lot of reflecting on how do you prioritize virtue and academics. And I would say early on in our marriage and our homeschooling, academics outweighed that. And that was probably because we were still developing a lot of virtue that needed to be there, and we still are, right?
Yeah.
But it was like, we need to swing this pendulum a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. So not that my other children are not doing a lot of academics. To be honest, my daughter is like 16-year-old. She's in multiple, college classes, plus online homeschool classes, plus works at a horse barn, plus does cultural things as well. You know what I mean? Like she's working her tail off, and she's pretty much the person that runs my farm for me.
Colorado.
Yeah. So
my firstborn daughter is a lot. Well, different thing. So I'm going to propose.
Yeah.
You guys are going through something that I observed this when I was talking to the Dohertys, who live near.
Yep. I met them for the first time on Thursday.
Okay. I think we're going to come spend like a week.
That's what I heard. That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
But
so
I don't know if anybody else knows in town though. So
we were doing a panel discussion on homeschooling and homesteading.
Was this last December?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The Liturgy of the Land conference. And I was like, look, our kids aren't done. I don't know. You come see me in 10 years, you might think, what do they know about education? But one thing I noticed, and we have definitely observed this, and it sounds like you're describing it, is that there is obviously one of the reasons we want to homeschool is you can perceive in the world problems.
Mm-hmm.
And not just like, I want to shelter my kids, but I want to learn how to think.
Yeah.
And I think we could do a better job than public schools.
Absolutely.
And I want them to be out. Or there's lots of reasons.
Definitely private schools.
But a lot of them are homeschoolers, right? They're very conservatively minded, or they're converts, a lot of converts, or or even if they're not converts, they're like, look, we're going to do this differently than our parents did.
Yeah.
And there's this sort of intense willpower of difference that doesn't exist as an inherited tradition and culture, right?
Yeah.
So they're not stepping into something. So then you have to look at what this is going to look like. Mm-hmm. You're kind of looking at modern academics, which are pretty intense in comparison to what, that picture on the front of the homeschool catalog where the mom's just reading with a candle, and like, this is what homeschooling looks like. Well, that's probably their only book.
Yeah.
Right. In 1743, that was the book that the village had. Like, so today they're holding themselves to a higher standard, which might not mean higher in wisdom, but it means more.
Yeah.
And early on, that is the cultural force that shapes the home.
Yep.
And then for a lot, this happened to the Dohertys. It seems like it happened to you.
Yep.
It certainly happened to us.
Yeah.
The culture of the home becomes an actual formative force.
Yep.
Where the intensity of that like technical rigidity sort of gives way to like something that's a little more whole.
Yeah.
Does that sound esoteric and dumb?
No, I totally get what you're saying, but there's still like this part of us. It's like, but what about these check boxes and these check boxes? And these
we're going through that. See, okay,
like these are all the things that I want them to do all these things before they leave my house.
Right.
Right. I feel like these are all tools in their tool chest that they need to have.
They're out in the garden playing the banjo again, like a bunch of idiots,
I know.
But what's happening
banjo, mountain dulcimer, harp, piano.
By the way, you're going to get to hear the intro music if you ever watch the podcast. That's our kids playing in here.
Nice.
We also filmed them for 30 minutes having an argument as a family van. Beautiful. I'm like, guys, this is all recorded. So that's them playing. I guess what I'm saying is, now this is not possible in a purely suburban setting where there's not like a productive cultural force in that home.
That's what.
But for a lot of people, then the homeschool remains the predominant cultural shape.
Yeah, so it's academic and in focus.
And I'm going to say maternal.
Yeah.
And that can be harder. I know a lot. Right down the road, there's a mom, and she's like, "Look, I've been homeschooling my son. He's great. I love him. He's going to school next year."
Yeah.
Because there comes a point where that doesn't work well.
Definitely worked through a lot. And it's been very painful at times.
Yeah.
Because, my wife does the homeschooling, right? Yes, I do some stuff on the farm with them, but it's more experiential and it's not structured, you know. She's tried to pass off homeschooling stuff for me in the past. I completely dropped a whole year of mathematics. I was a math major.
Yep.
For my daughter, because I just didn't follow up and didn't grade.
I'm not trying to bring up the same thing again, but I'm saying, I have a sanguine personality, and it's like, I guess she's got all the check boxes. She's like, well, can you hit some of this? I'm like, heck yeah. And then I look at the check. I'm like, I didn't follow up on anything. But
as we're moving, I found some of those tests. It was a little embarrassing.
But what has happened for us and what the Dohertys were describing is that, again, as they got older, though, because we say these things like, the family is the primary formator, and the every home is a school, and you're always learning. It's a school of love, and it's a school of this. And in a lot of ways, I think that not that the academics have to lighten up. That's not my point. But they certainly don't. They are a backdrop to a broader this is what I think this is good when this happens. To a way of life that, again, back to this educational thing that's actually passed down. Because along with being like every family being a diaspora of itself. The reason that's so debilitating is actually, and this is related to you saying you want your kids to always stay in a familial environment. That people say we want to have a vibrant Catholic culture. Great. I think the most basic definition of a culture is that it can go to the next generation. Right? If not, then each family, not only is each family a diaspora, each family has to be a pioneer of some whole new way of life. That might have similarities and all right, you do Mother of Divine Grace and we do, it might have some similarities with others, but it's not a culture until it's generational. And that as your family gets older, like your homeschool family, I think some of the academics, well, we have that, like, all right, the first 3 are pretty awesome. But we're not doing all the things, the check boxes. That was but it's like it's moves from formula to formation. When it becomes more of a shared understanding. But to your point earlier, and I wanted to come back to that kids should stay in a familial environment. This was a recommendation of like Dorothy Day. She said every family should have a young adult living with them. And every young adult should try to live with a family because then they maintain a foot in reality. And they have a vibrancy that's able to help with the baby. And and this is when you go see Craig across the street. They hired a guy, Thomas.
I met him in the past.
Who he doesn't live with them, but how much he's there, he has become part of the family. And I can see the value of having, these young adults. And I've seen, like, even in our Fraternus chapter, like there's like the young guys that come closer to families where they are, and it's the construction guys. They're, they'll come over to our house or go over to some friend's house on a Sunday and spend that with a family. And they kind of see, I think this keeps them in reality, but then I think one of Dorothy Day's points is it also keeps the family from being a little too insular. They have a sort of outside bridge besides just the father who often plays that role. I would say that we've been more insular ourselves even, but it's almost like because of the academics, overwhelmed, and you know what I mean? Absolutely. Well, it's what is the dominant cultural decision maker in your home? Meaning, what are whatever it is causes you to have to say no to a lot of things. Is like the dominant cultural force.
Traffic in Charlotte.
Yes.
I mean, that's it really
could be sports. Like the thing where no, I can't because X. We chose, but you went. We chose milk cows.
I mean, we just chose our farm. Just like, okay, we're gonna do some things. It's a hobby. It's really a hobby.
Hold on. I don't let people. I don't let people dismiss. They're like, well, it's because they're not like depending on it they're not making money from it. It's not real. I'm like, I'm sorry, you're milking a cow in your backyard. That's pretty serious.
It is. It is. But it was, and I've definitely used the farm as teaching economics to my children. Right. Like, okay, we're going to raise these pigs. And here's the deal. I paid X dollars per pig. This is how much food I put into them. I take them to Craig to process. And this is how much all in it costs. And we're going to keep this pig and we're selling the rest of the pig off to friends for exactly that much. Right.
So that exercise, did you view that as a educational thing?
Yeah.
Did your wife view it as Does she value the farm as much as like
she values the farm, but she is not as engaged in the production or management of it as I am.
Yeah.
Because her focus is in the home on education.
Yeah. No, my wife, when we first started, I'm trying to make sure this doesn't become just like us homesteaders commiserating about how glorious it is, because it's really hard and it's not.
I mean, it's just a balance.
It's
a balance. I imagine it being a balance similar. I grew up playing like competitive sports, but we decided that was not really going to be for us, for our family. But there's a balance in that world as well between. Well, so it's just different balance.
My wife, when we first started homesteading, she was out there milking, and we had 3 kids, and then 4, and then 5, and then they're homeschooling, and it was like, and she's not on the farm anymore.
Nope.
So I think the kids saw a picture of her like feeding a calf. They're like, "You didn't know you know how to do that?" It's like, now at this point, the joke is this: I got this from an old farmer. If when your kids get old enough, to be out there, if mama's coming to the barn, it's because you're in trouble. You know, it's not coming to help. And that's a relatively common. But again, like when the children are able to be a part of the father's work, and then the family has a shared something that they're doing together. Yeah. I think academics do let up a little bit.
Agreed. Yeah. I mean, they have. It's healthy for them too.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. So relating that back, how is that affecting now? Because I started this question, then we got off on that. You're saying, well, the academics have changed, right? The emphasis, and then you said you've maybe been a little more insular. Now you're going to that crazy community up in Steubenville.
Yeah.
How is you got a 16-year-old, and then so how are you now guiding? And now we're talking females.
Yeah. It's
not to skip over John Paul, but he's in his place. He's in his place.
Yeah. And he's happy in that place.
Right. But now you've got more.
Yeah. So this move to Steubenville is it's been a struggle for us to leave the community we have here.
Yeah.
Even Jason Craig and
we always kind of hope.
We strongly
we wanted you to get here.
We looked for land.
Yeah.
It was an option, right? And I don't know where God's taking everything.
Yeah.
Right? So
to himself. All right.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know where life's going, but this was clearly like, okay, at this season in life, we need to do this.
Right.
Right. I mean, he kind of like, okay, Lord, these things need to happen. Check, check, check.
Yeah.
I can't really say no.
I think, because we were doing, I think I interviewed you for the podcast that was for Tate.
Last March, yeah.
Which was a Till and Keith podcast.
Yeah. I was still a banker.
You were still a banker?
Yeah.
I
was on my way out, though. I knew that my departure from
But I remember you saying, like, I'm not going anywhere. And then you left, then you were running and banging, and then you're like, I'm moving. And that's not what I want to ask you about.
Yeah.
Although, but the concept, the relocation.
Daughters, relocation. Yeah. So, like.
No, how are you viewing where, especially with a daughter who probably feels called to either religious life or marriage?
Yep.
How's that, like, what are you guiding her towards? She's taking college courses.
She has spent all of her 2 older brothers, 24 and 22, and her have all spent time working at a local therapy horse barn that John Paul actually rides at.
All right.
That was our first link in. So she's looking at becoming a vet tech.
Okay.
But she's going to graduate high school with a bunch of college credit, and she's like, I don't want to finish. And we're like, well, that's silly.
You're right.
Like you're 1 year.
Really? You think
3 semesters?
Okay.
3 semesters away from graduating with a college degree.
She's kind of like cool to it.
She's just like, okay, I'll do it, but I'd rather just go off and join a convent, be married, you know what I mean? Yeah. Or just work as a vet tech that's current 16-year-old, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
my 16-year-old is raising pigs, cut flowers, and has about 14 business ideas going a day.
I love the cut flowers. I tried to get my daughter into the cut flowers stuff.
Well, we'll see how it goes. This is the first season. We'll see how
it's a real. It's a lot of work.
Yeah. Well, we'll go see the garden.
I'd like to see
There's some work up there.
Yeah.
It's a mess. You can see the mess. It's a real thing.
But yeah, so I don't know. Like right now we're moving into town.
All right, so it's hard.
That's where we can land.
You're not wrapping your mind around.
But we're still having the struggle of, do we stay in town or would you go out in the country? Like I'd love to have my cow back from Jacob, you know? And you know, my daughter, 6-year-old daughter's my main farm hand, you know, we had baby goats this spring and she ended up having to bottle feed them because the mama was rejecting the girl.
Yeah.
And that girl jumps into her arms now.
Yeah.
Like,
but you're not going to have that help anymore.
We don't even have a place. Yeah. We are in the middle of town. You know, we've talked about being that family that moves in with goats.
Yeah.
In the middle of town.
Those people.
But I haven't committed to that yet.
Yeah.
I got to be there for a little while longer.
They're either Catholics or doing some kind of voodoo sacrifice.
Yeah. So I think it really depends on where God leads us within for our housing up there to determine where my children are involved in things.
Yeah.
Up there, right? So I can see my children.
You're not a good person to ask this question. You're in transition.
It's a good transition, but but you know, my daughter's like, yeah, I could see myself being in downtown and walking to church and walking to the bookstore, working at the bookstore, working at the coffee shop, working, you know what I mean, at the grocery store, you know. So
because people only pray and read in Steubenville. That sounds like a very cool life.
That's what it is. This was available right now. She's not working at the cigar shop, okay? So like.
Well,
at the pottery shop.
I think it's worth saying, you and I, we've had this discussion that it seems like, oh, no, we're not anti-city, that actually you could live an integrated communal life. Yeah. What you did in Charlotte, you almost had to be agrarian to have a connection to reality. Yeah. There are places where, hey, if I was just smack down in the middle of this, we're also integrated in a community, or this integrates us because it's not just sprawling.
That's like the conversation. So I've been doing this. I've been working there since January. It's now May, right? I've been doing this for 5 months, 4 months now.
This conversation
with my family of having a conversation of are we in town or are we in the country? Like because in Charlotte we were in town but had the country, right?
Yeah.
So
you've had a weird run of
it. It's a weird, like, we could go to Mass any direction we wanted to go to. Yeah. We could be involved in multiple Catholic communities. Yeah. But we weren't really a part of a community like has been developed here or like is developed in Steubenville as well. Right. You know what I mean?
The rural. Yeah, in Steubenville, I mean, just in case anyone's romanticizing, you know, we're still young, stumbling communal life.
Yeah.
But in Steubenville, what I saw when I visited was interesting, that there was multiple generations, right? That's where an idea becomes viable.
Yeah.
There's multiple generations of communal life with functioning, economically viable adults that love each other, still love their parents.
Yeah.
And like, you know, it was, you know, I'm sure behind the scenes there's all kinds of stuff, but I know that.
Yeah. I'm sure.
You're not.
I can't say that I know any of it because.
No. Well, I mean, you know, they say you're not really doing community until you're disappointed in people.
Yeah.
It's not just because I think we think of communal life as the best friendships I've ever experienced writ large.
Yeah.
Which is not. That's like saying your family is just going to be a bunch of buddies all the time. Like it's just not.
No.
It's more like a family than your friendship than your buddies. So. Or community is more like a family than a buddy system.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But okay, so then you're answering the broader, like what you've learned with your current situation. But I guess the question I was getting at is like, what, or we can wrap up with this.
Yeah.
Because we got to load your calf.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to talk a guy behind us to selling land to a Catholic.
Yeah.
Is you mentioned, all right, we made some mistakes along the way and stuff, but like, all right, my oldest is 16 and then 15 and 13. So, Chad, give me some advice. As I said that, my dad's laughing outside. He can't hear us. No, he cannot. I don't know if you can hear it on the microphone. I asked that. Chad, you got like a deer in the headlights. And then my dad outside just starts laughing.
So advice, I don't
like, as far as, guiding them into that stage, was it, stay closer to them? Is it,
stay closer involved with all their businesses. Like,
so what's the difference between involving and pry or control? Like,
so for instance, my 22-year-old, he's an electrician. He's starting to do side jobs. I was like, all right, so you're doing side jobs? Great. I was like, you need to structure this a little bit more, right? Like, you need some protection. You're engaged now. You need to protect your own family. Like, you should open up an LLC.
Wait, your advice to your kids is use protection? Is that that's what you're telling me? Okay.
Financial liability.
Got it.
Yes, I don't want him to.
So you're guiding him with his business.
Yeah. So like, okay, here are the things that you need to think about. I was on the phone with my oldest, who's trying to be a pilot right now. He's having to make some decisions. Okay. Yeah, I was on the phone with both of them driving home from Ohio yesterday and challenging them, like, did you think about this? Did you think about that? Did you think about this? Did you think about that?
They're open to these challenges.
Yeah, there's competitiveness. Like, yes, of course I did. I was like, look, this is my fatherly duty to make sure at this point in your life that you consider all these other things that I might have some experience with.
Yeah.
You don't have to do what I say.
Right.
It's okay. But I need to make sure that as you're discerning these things, you've been formed, you've been educated to make decisions and to think through problems.
You're guiding them.
Exactly.
Right.
And like, just keep asking those questions. Have you considered?
Yeah.
What about this?
But they must, but they know that you love them.
They know that I love them. They can still be annoyed. Yeah. And that's okay. And that's fine. I don't care. Like,
wait,
fine.
Aren't the people we love the ones that are supposed to annoy us the most? No, that's not.
So, yeah. So, like,
it's not true, sweetie.
There's some defensiveness at times because they're sub 25-year-old males. How about that?
Yeah.
Like,
brain development thing.
It's just not there completely yet. And so they need to work through those things. And that's okay. But I'm just going to make sure that I, as your father, have helped you think through all these options, all these contingencies.
So that is, all right. I think that,
right.
That's what I'm saying. I have a good friend that he said, we have to stop. We stop helping. And meaning we stop guiding. And this is actually, when it comes to these things, you're talking about your wife's a special care over the homeschooling.
Yeah.
I think you're describing that a father, we continue to guide them in the area that is particular to one of the ways we help them, not as if, only us, but it's certainly like to help them think through that.
Yeah.
And for that, maintaining the trust, the relationship, the communication. Because I just hear, and this is just anecdotal stuff, where it's like, they're cut off. There's like all that's left is.
I can't imagine that's what God wanted.
Well, no, what doesn't make sense,
right? Like it's just no. Like the other thing is they've seen me. Yeah, I worked at a bank, but I also did all these other things. I ran a farm. They
got to experience,
and they got to experience that. I built business models for my 24-year-old whenever he was 15 because he was selling all these eggs at the bank. Like, all right, here's your choices. How many chickens do you want to run? How much work do you want to put in? What kind of feed do you want? Do you want to make these organic eggs or not? No, I don't want to do that. It's too expensive. And we can sell, what are you selling for the eggs for? Like, you know what I mean? So here's your average.
You're doing better than me.
Count how many eggs you're getting every day for a couple weeks and keep logs, and then we can get an idea of how much feed we're using so you can get your feed conversion ratio.
Are you sure you're sanguine? That sounds pretty.
I'm sorry.
I'm not trying
I'm also very analytic,
Well, and the statistics thing.
Yeah, exactly. So like, here's some data to inform you on your decision making with this business. He built all of his chicken coops.
I think, going back to very functional, considering housing, work, guiding them. And I just think, we need to start proposing, as men, and this one, with Sword&Spade, a lot of the men is that men need to continue to be engaged on these critical stages. And I think it ramps up as they're initiated into communal adult economic culture.
As my son enters this next stage of life, being engaged and looking to be married by the end of the year, like it's a big transition of his responsibility and the other things he has to think about. So that's what I was talking to my 22-year-old about. It's like, well, all right, have you thought about these things? You and I. Of course I have. Well, okay.
All right. Just checking. Quit being a jerk about
it. Pretty much. Yeah.
Well, I'd say we've enjoyed our friendship because we'll call and actually, you're with some people and it's like, are we just going to talk about how great we are? But you and I usually, we've begun many things like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
As a father. But just so you know, you're being a good dad.
And you are as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, we're going to end on you. Chad, thank you for being on Sword&Spade podcast.
I'm happy to be here and enjoyed as always.
Let's go load your calf.
Let's go load the calf and move on with the rest of the day. And
amen.
See you in September in Steubenville.